There's something about hard games that just tickles the right part of my brain, and most of the time it's not even the difficulty that I enjoy. In fact, normally I loathe the experience of beating a challenging game. It's more about being able to say I beat the game, the crowning achievement of completion. Beating a hard boss in a game feels good. I got him. But the multiple attempts it took is better described as frustrating. Oh, my eyes are gonna pop out of my head. And oftentimes, boss fights can be defining moments called skill checks. And these skill checks can very often be jumping off points for most people. If you are stuck on a boss that you just cannot wrap your head around, and its health bar is not moving attempt after attempt, then you're likely to put the game down for a while. Rainworld was a strange game for me when I first tried it. I had been told it was hard, so of course I wanted to beat it. But the skill check in Rainworld was an entirely different beast. There aren't any boss fights in Rainworld, even though fighting a vulture on your first survivor playthrough may as well be one. The skill check isn't some brick wall you suddenly run into, halting your entire playthrough. It's a slow build-up of frustration with how the game works. Exiting a pipe straight into a lizard's mouth, a vulture swooping in when you have no cover, shaded citadel. After playing games like Hollow Knight, where you were given dashes, ranged attacks, and upgrades throughout your playthrough that make you feel stronger and stronger, it feels wrong being thrown into a game where you start out with everything from the beginning, everything being nothing. You have to learn how the fauna behave and how you can best approach any given situation. You don't suddenly get an upgrade that makes your spear do more damage or a double jump. You just gain knowledge. And in those first few hours of playing Rainworld, you may as well be a bug in a lizard enclosure. Going into the game with the mindset of overcoming it, I never really stopped to appreciate the environment, or the story, or even the fauna trying to kill me. I just wanted to beat the game, and that just made every death more infuriating, so it became easy to blame the game. It's unfair, the AI sucks, I should be given a gun, and after 3 hours of playtime, I dropped the game. That frustration was my jumping off point. And I know I'm not alone in this. I have friends who had a similar experience with their first playthrough being very short-lived and coming back to it months later. And of course I came back to the game much later with a better mindset, learning through every death and overcoming it, and it became one of my favorite games ever. Rainworld is hard, but it's not hard in the way that a boss that requires a lot of skill is hard. It's hard in the way that it requires real patience in learning from each and every death. And if you get over the initial skill check, it feels like an entirely different game. It goes from being a horror game to being a blast. I feel like this is why many game journalists gave Rainworld a negative review. It wasn't a game they could just breeze through, review, and go on to the next game. The GameSpot review states that Rainworld karma system is disrespectful of the player's time. Like, come on, the only person who would say this is a game journalist crunching to get a review out before their competitors. That's like saying Hollow Knight is disrespectful of the player's time because they couldn't beat a boss that gives you the ability to get to a different area. I believe that Rainworld is a game that needs to grow on you. It's a game that you need to fail at to succeed. You can't just beat it out of spite or to write a quick review. You have to experience it fully.